it was clear from his coach's reaction that was not their game plan either, because they seemed really surprised that it was happening. They were trying in vain to get him to keep it standing and avoid the takedown attempts. Luke, did you see it any differently, or were you as perplexed by the game plan as we were?
Man, I mean, Frank, said it pretty good there. I mean, at first I was like, why is he wrestling him? I said before, like, I don't think under any circumstance Anthony Johnson has an amazing gas tank, but he can probably do better 5-round striking than he can 5 rounds wrestling.
Yeah.
I don't think that's super controversial, And he was wrestling him right off the gate, and when the second round started, he went right back to it. And then the other thing that was like a dead giveaway, and I'm sure Frank can speak to this more than I can, but when Daniel put in the choke, the hand of the bicep was just like on the forehead of Anthony Johnson, and he didn't hand fight at all. Like, he just kind of went to an elbow and then tapped, and I was like, just shocked. My first thought was like, is he injured? Did he crack a ribs? Did something take the life out of him? And then when he retired, I was like, right, there you go. I mean, I think it's disrespectful for me to be like, well, he went in there and gave the fight to Daniel. I don't know that I want to say that, but certainly he didn't have the same kind of competitive zeal that an ordinary number one contender might.
No, I think that's actually a safe statement in itself, is that I don't think he went in there and threw the fight, but it was one of those situations where as an athlete he kind of went in there and was, well, if I happen to win, I'll throw a few things on the wall, see what sticks, but there was no real drive or ambition to try to win the fight. And so, I mean, like I said, I don't think he went in there with the intentions of like, all right, first shot I take, I'm just going to go down. But definitely was looking for the door out. The minute, like I said, he threw a couple kicks, punches. Hey, if something lands, screw it, I'll take the victory. But him coming out the victor, that wasn't something he was driven for. So that's what you watch. You watch a guy that did not care if he won the title or not. And, you have a guy who basically, Daniel Cormier, his only identity is the fact that he's the champion, because, I mean, let's face it, he's an extremely dominant fighter at 205, and no one cares. You know what I mean? Like, he is extremely unliked, and I feel bad for the guy. I honestly do, because he really is a good guy. Like, all the things they say about him, and then to watch his post-fight and see now that he's and I get it, he's trying to embrace the heel, but he looks just as bad as Ben Rothwell did trying to do it. It does not.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's like, it's bad. I mean, watching him try to be a dick, like now I've seen a couple things like, oh, the new guy to hate. I'm like, no, I don't. I just feel bad for him because he's not a heel. He's not a dickhead. Like, Daniel Cormier is actually a really nice guy. And I understand that no one likes him, and he just, for whatever reason, he's hit that groove, and I don't think he can escape it. So I think he's trying to embrace the bad guy shit, and he's just not a good guy trying to pretend to be. He just isn't working for him, man. He's not designed to be Conor McGregor. He's not. Great fighter he is, great analyst. I think he understands the sport like few others do. But as far as playing the dick, he sucks at it. I feel bad because I know that he doesn't want it, because it hurts him when people boo him. Like, other people, like, I think the Diaz brothers don't give a shit. You boo them, they kind of feed off of it. Yeah, fuck you. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Whereas I know that Daniel, each time he hears a boo in the crowd, he's the kind of guy that it stings him. I'm the guy that stings me. I don't want to be booed. Like, that sucks.
Yeah, it stings me when I'm booed at press conferences. I don't even like that. So, Luke, I mean, what about that? Because Frank and I were basically, saying the same thing at the conclusion of the fight, was that, oh, okay, I see what Daniel's doing here. He's forcing this, and I have never understood the villainization, if that's what it is, of Daniel Cormier. I just haven't gotten that. I actually thought, if anything, there should be more heat than there was on John Jones for a number of things, especially where people were put at risk and injured and things like that. I never got, instead, turning that ire on Daniel Cormier. Do you think that is personality driven, or do you think it has something to do with his area of expertise, which is the grind, which is the wrestling, which doesn't add up to a whole bunch of spectacular highlight reel knockouts? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I don't buy the Cormier as boring fighter argument. I mean, look, has he had some boring fights? Yeah, he's had some boring fights, but he's had a lot of highlight reel throws on Gustafsson and Barnett and Henderson. That he knocked out Bigfoot. I mean, some of this is at heavyweight where I think a lot of UFC fans didn't see it maybe, so maybe there's some of that. But like, if you're familiar with the body of work that Daniel Cormier has done, walking away being like, man, that guy's boring, that seems like an aggressive argument that I can't buy. The best thing that I can think of is, I mean, I've been trying to like wrap my head around it, like why is he like this? And Dominic Cruz just sort of saying like, look, the fans just pick who they want. I basically feel like that's correct. But if I could sort of pinpoint a theory, and it's just that, a theory, the best thing I can come up with is that if the fan base, even if it's unfair, if they detect an air of illegitimacy relative to some common standard. So in this case, he's the champion, but he never beat Jones. In fact, he lost to Jones. Right. And then inside that illegitimate bubble, you brag about how good you are. You say you're going to beat someone, even if you're well within your right to do that. They bristle at it. They don't like it. They love it when a guy brags and either is a showman about it, backs it up, or has a reason to say it to begin with. And I just don't feel like Cormier ever scratched that itch for them. But I mean, the guy is arguably pound for pound the second best fighter on earth. Like his body of work, as I mentioned, between heavyweight and light heavyweight, they don't come a whole lot better than that.
I think actually it's several factors, and I think that actually, Luke, you hit on one of them. I think that when he won the belt, and it was as coming off of a loss to the guy that was the champ who got stripped of it, I think he handled it wrong. I think if he would have taken the belt and not said, well, I'm the champ, and I was like, well, I don't feel like I'll be the champ until I beat John, then I think he would have came to that conclusion. It's one of those things where, like, if you already know where people are going to go with it, you know what I mean? Yeah. You go there first.
Okay, right.
And I think that if he would have gone there first and said, look, John's still the champ, and not said, well, his extracurricular activities, which are all valid points that he brings up, but the problem is he can't save them. You're not allowed to go ahead and blow that horn. You know what I mean? Like, you can't do it. So if he would have come off of like, well, I'm the best, but I don't feel like I'm the champ until I beat John, that if that would have been his mantra, I think that would have saved him a lot of ire from the fans. And honestly, I think the other factor is we're still a visual sport. Conor McGregor, not only is he a mouthy guy and sells fights, but the guy's a good-looking guy. He has a thin waist, tattooed, beard. He looks like a fucking Viking. You know what I mean? Like, he looks the part. Like, if you say, hey, we're going to put a movie together and we're going to lead, we got to create a lead for our hero. Yeah, that's what the guy looks like. It's like if you say, well, let's pick this guy. You're like, shit, I'm in, man. He looks like a rock star. Daniel Cormier, even when he's not 205 at the lightest, his stomach looks funny. He's receding hairline. He's short. He's not a imposing physical presence. So I think that also hurts him. I mean, as dickish as it sounds, like, fans look at him and I'm like, he looks like shit, so even though his performances are phenomenal, and you're right, you can make an argument that the only guy that ever beat him was John. He's dominated everybody else. It's like, yeah, but he doesn't have that. He doesn't capture that superhero John look, Demetrius Johnson. Everybody is fit at that, and you see fans don't really get behind that. I mean, I think that's why Cain Velasquez had a problem. He just, even as dominant as he was when he was the heavyweight champ and leading up to and always his fights, he doesn't look the part.
Let me just make 2 points about what you just said there. One, in terms of, had he come out and said, I got the belt, but I don't really feel like the champion. Obviously, he didn't say he doesn't feel like a champion, but I want to defend him here, though. He has never shied away from being willing to fight John Jones again. It's John that keeps messing up.
I agree
it's
with
not
you.
Like Cormier's,
but
we'll get in line.
When you're successful, people hate on you already. And when you sit there and there's a very blaring like, well, you're not really the champ kicked your ass. If you don't state that and just kind of air it, and they're going to go there, they're going to draw that conclusion. People are going to look at it and go, so you're the 205 champ. Yeah. Well, what happened to the last champion? Oh, he got stripped because he can't get his shit together outside the cage. Okay. Did he beat you? Yeah, he beat me. So now you're the champ, but the champ that was the champ beat your ass, and you're no longer. And because he's a party guy, he can't get his shit together. But you're still not the champ, dude. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, that's how people think. But if you were to sit there and, like all things, I mean, you're a great PR guy. You guys know. I mean, I think that if people run into things head on. It's one of those things where, like, I'm going out to a press conference, someone's going to bring up X, Y, or Z. Well, fuck that. I'll bring it up first. I'm going to throw it on the table first. And if he had done that, I think that he would have, I think that it would have taken ammo away from some of his critics.